In transit advocacy circles and among transit enthusiasts, you may encounter talk of bus rapid transit, or BRT. But sometimes you don't need a full BRT to have a great bus corridor. So today we're not looking at just a specific bus line, but rather a specific street. Let's take a trip along North Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland, to see if this road has something even better than BRT. So we're at the corner of North Avenue and Elamont Street in Baltimore, and I'm joined by Tom from Trains Are Awesome.
Hey everyone.
Now, I've been on your channel before. You've never been on my channel?
Really?
Technically, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We've filmed enough videos together. I didn't realize I was being greedy and they were all mine.
Oh, that's okay. But we'll be getting the bus in a few minutes. We just saw it start to do the deviation because this is where the CityLink Gold ends, which runs about every 10 minutes along North Avenue. And it should be pulling up at the stop in just a couple minutes. So let's go board. North Avenue is a major east-west thoroughfare on the north side of central Baltimore, parts of which carry US Highway 1 and US 40 bypass. What makes North Avenue, specifically the section used by the CityLink Gold and other buses, different from many other major streets in Baltimore, is its layout. Immediately you'll notice that 2 of the travel lanes are painted red, while the other 2 to 4 lanes, depending on where you are regular car lanes. That's because the red lanes are dedicated bus lanes. Cars cannot use them as travel lanes. These lanes are just for transit buses, though bikes, school buses, and emergency vehicles can use them too. They stretch a little over 4.6 miles, or about 7.4 kilometers, from Walbrook over to the Berea and South Clifton Park neighborhoods, with only a few small gaps in their continuity. A variety of bus routes use parts of North Avenue, most notably the CityLink Gold, running approximately every 10 minutes for much of the day, with buses from Walbrook Junction to either Berea or Canton Crossing. A few other local buses use parts of North Avenue as well, but the CityLink Gold line is the route that travels along the street for the longest distance by far. And because the CityLink Gold is so frequent during the day, we barely have to wait for a bus in Walbrook. So let's go get on board. So as you can see, the bus lanes there are just literally painted red, and they're lanes by the curb. It does not appear to be any transit signals or anything, and the bus lanes end here. So this is right at the start, and we'll be riding just to see what it looks like, and is this better than other lines of BRT in the Mid-Atlantic? So Tom can just demonstrate that there's a bus stop, and it's just kind of your average city bus stop in Baltimore.
2 shelters.
2 shelters though, but no curb, high curb boarding, no digital signs or anything, just the bus shelter. So it's really not anything fancy. Short little non-articulated. So yeah, we just get curb running bus lane and really nothing else. But we're going pretty quick. We're already at our next stop. Just right here, no shelter, nothing, just a bus stop sign. But it's a typical New Flyer bus. Digital wayfinding though, that's good. Our bus quickly pulls away and makes full use of the bus lanes. We don't have to contend for space with cars traveling in our direction, nor do we inconvenience motorists in the car lanes by serving bus stops, which we stop at quite a bit, as this is quite a busy bus corridor, with North Avenue buses carrying an estimated 4 million passengers per year. Interestingly, revitalization efforts in areas along this corridor are why these bus lanes exist. Baltimore's North Avenue Rising initiative, finished in 2022, had the goal of improving the local economic situation and increasing local access to other parts of the city by improving transit, connectivity, safety, and accessibility by upgrading traffic lights and intersections, updating old sidewalks to be accessible and ADA compliant, installing these bus lanes, and improving the environment for pedestrians and cyclists. This project aimed to be a win for everyone. Anyway, as we near Coppin State University, we lose the bus lanes for a little while, but it's not long before they're back after buses serve the university campus. Alright, and here we lose the curb lane, and then we enter the bus lane again. So as you can see by the red pavement. Rather than just a transit project, Baltimore took a more holistic approach to improving the street for everyone along the right-of-way. The bus lanes opened in late 2021, converted from regular car travel lanes, while other improvements to the North Avenue corridor have been made alongside them. Soon, though, we approach Penn North Station on Baltimore's sole subway line, the MDOT Maryland MTA Baltimore Metro subway link, at the corner of North Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue. We'll be getting off here to get a view of the area and to see how close it is to get into the subway station. Spoiler alert, it's pretty close, with station entrances adjacent to both the eastbound and westbound bus stops. So this is the transfer to Penn North Station on the Metro subway link. There's an entrance on both corners of the street. But it's a pretty convenient transfer. I mean, bus stop's right outside the subway entrance. We walk a little ways down North Avenue, appreciating the bus lanes from the sidewalk, before boarding a CityLink Gold bus at the next stop to continue our trip eastbound along North Avenue. Here's what your average section of bus lanes look like on North Avenue. You have a parking lane, bus lane, and then 2 travel lanes, 1 in each direction, and then a bus lane going the other direction, and then more parking. So pretty simple. It's just a painted curb lane. All right, so this is what a non-shelter bus stop looks like. You have 2 routes here, the Gold and then the North Avenue 85. It is just a shoulder bus stop right along the bus lane. But there's another Gold pulling in, so. Ooh, we even get our own bollard dividers here. We can go right through the red light. That's awesome. We soon passed some newer developments and decided to get off at Mount Royal Avenue, just short of where North Avenue passes the North Avenue Light Rail Station.
Stop where buses.
So we just got off at Mount Royal Avenue, right off North Avenue, just to grab a drink from a Subway. But Tom, what do you think of the bus lane so far? I don't want to call it a bus way, but it's just kind of, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
No, it's definitely bus lanes, and that's fine. I mean, it reminds me of what I said about the Flash and the Metroway near DC, is that really we shouldn't be calling this bus rapid transit. We should be advocating for more buses to be like this. I think there's some things that I would improve, like the parking or the fact that it actually has to pull off the lane to board people. That really slows things down. But overall, I mean, it was just a matter of minutes for us to get basically halfway down North Avenue.
Yeah.
So,
and I think part of that is it's just literally they painted the lane red. It used to be a car travel lane. So, I mean, it's a pretty easy conversion project. I think making little bump outs for the curb, I think that'd be pretty easy. We've seen that in DC a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, so here's where North Avenue crosses under I-83 and goes over the light rail tracks. But there's no bus lanes here, but it's also massively under construction. So I would assume once they're done with the construction, they put some bus lanes in. I would hope. And transfer to the light rail is not awful. I mean, normally the bus stop is right there, but I'm not sure if they're serving it again because of construction. But you just cross the street and then North Avenue Light Rail is right there. So this is where the Gold normally stops, but because of construction, they're stopping across the street. But extremely convenient transfer to the Light Rail, which is right there. We walk a little bit further down North Avenue before boarding yet another eastbound CityLink Gold bus. And the fact that we're able to get on and off these buses so easily is one of the main reasons why transit on North Avenue is so great. Frequency matters. And the CityLink Gold being not only a frequent route, but also a 24/7 route, really makes travel along this corridor easy. And the additional bus routes that follow parts of North Avenue, they only serve to make frequency and connectivity along the street even better, even if they only use North Avenue for a few blocks.
North Avenue and Homewood Avenue transfer to CityLink Green and Local Link 52, 53.
Hey, we're back on a narrower section of North Avenue again, where it's just 2 lanes of car traffic and then 2 lanes of bus lanes, 1 in each direction. I mean, it's a pretty quick system, and calling it a system is a bit of an overstatement. I mean, it's really just painted bus lanes. That's really all it is. And good service. I mean, it's good bus service without really even trying that hard. Eventually, our bus leaves the bus lanes just short of where they end, and we get off not long after. And we were even treated to this nice surprise as we stepped onto the sidewalk. So, to travel from Walbrook all the way to Wolf Street, where our bus left North Avenue, a distance of around 4.3 miles, or around 6.9 kilometers, it'll take you 20 to 25 minutes, assuming you stay on the same vehicle and don't hop on and off like we did, and that buses are on time. But regardless of scheduling, the ride is really quick. Sure, there's not a perfectly timed green wave to give buses long stretches of guaranteed green lights, but there is supposedly transit signal priority for the buses that travel down the street. And while some traffic lights look newer, it seems plausible that older lights could also be retimed with bus travel patterns in mind. Per the Federal Transit Administration, this does also count as transit traffic signal priority. But anyway, why does this matter? After all, North Avenue is just a street with bus lanes, right? To answer that, let's talk about what North Avenue is not. It's not bus rapid transit. BRT lines may have nicer, larger stops for stations, raised curb platforms and level boarding, off-board fare payment, dedicated lanes and traffic signals, and frequency that allows them to move tons and tons of people at any given time. But not all of these are a requirement. They may also have distinct branding seeking to elevate them above other bus services. In the Mid-Atlantic United States, there are a handful of BRT lines here and there, of which I've personally ridden the GRTC Pulse in Richmond, Virginia, and the A1X, then known as the Metroway, in Alexandria and Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. Both the Pulse and the A1X have dedicated lanes and signals, larger, nicer stations than normal bus stops, higher frequencies, and raised curbs so there's less of a step up onto the bus. But these bus rapid transit routes don't always end up being truly rapid. Now, there are good BRT lines out there. In fact, Tom previously explored Mexico City's and Buenos Aires' good BRT networks on his channel. But not every BRT reaches these levels of good. The Pulse and A1X get stuck at red lights. Neither route has bus lanes for its entire route. The Pulse's dedicated signals mean that even if cars have a green light, buses may not always have a clear signal to proceed. The A1X has a bunch of sharp turns that make it feel as slow as a normal city bus. The Pulse insists on using completely separate lanes and bus stops from other bus routes, effectively reducing frequency by splitting up local buses between regular bus stops in normal car lanes and Pulse buses to their own stops in their own dedicated lanes. And every little piece of infrastructure you add onto these lines can really just make things more complicated, not to mention they can increase costs. So let's look at some numbers. The GRTC Pulse cost $62 million for its roughly 6.5 mile route, much of which doesn't have dedicated bus lanes, though the parts that do saw reworks to their respective streets. Weekday frequency is at least pretty good though, and it got dedicated higher curb stations for easier boarding and some of its own dedicated traffic signals. The A1X cost $42 million for its roughly 4.7 mile route, much of which doesn't have dedicated bus lanes. Again, frequency is good and major changes to streets were made, again with some larger dedicated stations and signals and higher curb stops. Meanwhile, Baltimore pulled off the North Avenue bus lanes, transit signal priority, repaving parts of the road, improving bike and pedestrian infrastructure, making old sidewalks ADA compliant and more accessible, and just generally updating the 4.5 mile section of North Avenue for $27.3 million. While the North Avenue bus lanes are admittedly less fancy than the Pulse and the A1X, their cost is still way lower than the cost of the two Virginia BRT routes I mentioned. But Baltimore did not have to acquire new buses for this project, nor did it have to do much major street reconstruction over long portions of the corridor, opting instead for smaller curb improvements, intersection improvements, and as far as I can tell, just one bus signal at Asquith Street. While both Virginia projects saw massive roadway overhauls. But perhaps you see why I find the North Avenue bus lanes so interesting. Baltimore didn't set out to build BRT. Rather, it set out to improve the corridor of North Avenue holistically, with cycling, walking, accessibility, safety, and transit all in mind. And if you take away everything extra from BRT, specially branded buses, fancy stops, raised curbs, and dedicated transit-only signals, you're basically left with what we see on Baltimore's North Avenue. Simple bus lanes with traditional bus stops with good, frequent service. But Baltimore doesn't even call this a bus rapid transit line. Indeed, it's just some paint on the ground, some improved bus stops, and some stoplights that are theoretically designed to move more buses through. But sometimes, that's all you need. This kind of bus lane is cheap and simple to install, and perhaps more importantly, easily replicable onto almost any street with multiple traffic lanes. Sure, it won't have all the fanfare and political prowess as a bus rapid transit project, but it generally also doesn't need the higher amount of planning and construction time or budget as BRT. As for the North Avenue bus lanes, I think they're an excellent asset to Baltimore's transit network. There could be better curb bump outs and fewer gaps in the bus lanes, but they're generally really good. Some parts of the corridor could have more even bus stop spacing, but given where intersecting bus lines stop, it's really not too much of a problem. And North Avenue is not labeled as BRT, so I feel like I don't expect buses there to be as fast. But they move tons of people and can just skip by car traffic. My first time I rode this line, we did just that. And if you do the math, riding the 4.6 miles of bus lanes along North Avenue takes somewhere around half an hour, while the A1X takes just over 20 minutes to go 4.7 miles. Perhaps a better comparison is the Pulse, and if you take the 4.5 mile section from West Riverfront to Scott's Addition, via downtown Richmond and the dedicated bus lanes, it's roughly a 26-minute scheduled journey. 4.5 urban miles in 26 minutes compared to North Avenue's 20 to 30 minutes for 4.6 miles. That's an average speed of 14.1 miles an hour for the A1X, 10.5 miles an hour for that specific urban section of the Pulse, or an average 11 miles an hour for the whole Pulse, and about 11 miles an hour for North Avenue, assuming a 25-minute scheduled run from Walbrook to Berea, though the schedule does vary throughout the day. So really, the Baltimore CityLink Gold Route along North Avenue is very comparable to the GRTC Pulse in terms of speed, not to mention the sometimes better frequency of the CityLink Gold alone, and the fact that there are buses on North Avenue 24/7. So did Baltimore find something better than bus rapid transit? Given the lower cost of the project and comparable speeds to the Pulse, even with many more bus stops along the route, I'd say yes. Just the bus lanes would have cost even less, but but the fact that Baltimore achieved similar speeds to the GRTC pulse with a lower budget without even trying to do BRT is impressive. And I think Baltimore could benefit from more east to west bus lanes just like this on other streets, given the city's lack of east-west rail rapid transit. Theoretically, the city could just duplicate the North Avenue project and it wouldn't even need to do BRT. And I think so many more American cities could and should be doing projects like the North Avenue bus lanes. But feel free to tell me what you think of all this in the comments. Alright, so we're at West Baltimore getting the MARC train back to DC, but the North Avenue busway, or bus lanes, whatever you want to call it, honestly, we moved pretty quick. Buses were, of course, easy to use, and the frequency was pretty good with Gold Line and then a couple other local lines that use it for different sections. Do you have any thoughts, Tom?
No, not really. I used to walk over there a decent amount, and I'd noticed the bus lanes, never really realized that they went all the way, so thanks for showing me today.
Yeah, I mean, I rode this a couple weeks ago for like a couple stops and I was like, huh, this is actually pretty good service. I want to come back and check it out, so I'm glad we did. Like and subscribe. Subscribe to Tom. Trains are awesome. If you're not subscribed to Tom, but you're subscribed to me, I don't know how that's even possible, but we'll see y'all in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your week. Yes, again, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and stay tuned for more content. Also, a quick thank you for 2,900 subscribers. This is a huge milestone for the channel, and it kind of came really quickly. So take this video as a celebration for now, but I have tentative plans for a more celebratory video in the future. I just have to find time to film it. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks again to Tom for filming and sharing some of the footage used in this video, and thanks again for coming along this adventure. I'll see y'all in the next one.